Okay, that should be fun.
I'm sitting.
Is anyone sitting here?
No one's sitting there. I use this for my hat and my cane. You can use it for your book.
Sure.
Shabbat Shalom. We begin with our opening songs. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabla, Nekabla. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabla, Nekabla. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom Mevorah. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom Mevorah. Lechadodi. Levadodi, Likrat Kala, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabla, Nekabla. Levadodi, Likrat Kala, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabla, Nekabla.
Continue with Ki Eshmera Shabbat, which can be found on page 11 in your program.
Ki Eshmera Shabbat, El Yishmereni. Ki Eshmera Shabbat, El Yishmereni. Oti leomeyad, ve'yolu ve'ni. Oti leomeyad, ve'yolu ve'ni. Ki Eshmera Shabbat, El Yishmereni. Ki Eshmera Shabbat, El Yishmereni.
Our next song is not found in our Siddur, but Charlie's going to lead it, and you're going to sing along even if you don't know the words.
Alright, Bowie Kala over and over again. Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala. di li krak kala. Lecha do di li krak kala. Pene Shabbat nekala. Benema Boikala. Boikala, 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 Boikala. Boikala, 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 Boikala. One more time, Boikala. Boikala, 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 Boikala.
Which means welcome bride, as we welcome in our Shabbat bride, we welcome in the joy of Shabbat. We do so as well as we light our candles. Back to our book, you will find on page 2, the reading for our candle blessing. And Robin Moore will be doing the honor of lighting this for us this evening. Robin, if you wouldn't mind.
We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe. You hallow us, you dispose, you bring us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. May we be blessed with Shabbat joy. May we be blessed with Shabbat peace. May we be blessed with Shabbat life.
We continue now with our Chatzi Kaddish on page 26. Yitkadav, Yitkadav, Shemei Rabba, Yalmad Yivrakirte, Yamlit Malchute, B'vayechon, Yomechon, Uchayedecho Beit Yisrael, Hagala, Hagala, Yisman Kari, V'Imeru, Amen. Yeshmei Rabba, Please rise. Page 28.
My bad. There you go.
30, we continue in the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma poteach she'arim, v'vitvuna meshana itim, v'machalif et hazmanim, v'mesader et hakochavim, v'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, v'orei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, v'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, v'mavdil ben yom u'ben layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 32.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. We continue on page 36 with the words of the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levavecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'mlechtecha b'derech u'shokbecha u'kumecha u'shartam le'ot hayadecha v'hayu letotafot b'einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם. On page 39, first we're going to read at the bottom, in the middle of the page, and then, sorry. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Hamidenu Shomrinu Lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Hamideinu Shomrinu Lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Hamideinu Shomrinu
On page 44, we read together, "The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed." On this other side of the page, page 45, I believe.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day, and eternity utters a day. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day, and eternity utters a day. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la.
Please rise if you're able. Page 46. Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imatenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanorah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol ומביקולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע מגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב למושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום הללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. You may be seated.
We pray together on the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mikadesh ha-Shabbat. 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, shotecha levarecha v'yirah na'avo. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lecha na'eh lehodot.
Page 61. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol
moment for private meditation. You might choose to use the words on the following page or words you find in your heart.
We turn now to page 244, and if you are able, please rise, rising in body or in spirit as you are able, as we prepare for our Torah service.
Adonai,
Our Torah reading this evening comes from Parshat Chaye Sarah. I will be reading from almost the beginning of the portion. The section I'll be reading from begins with Genesis chapter 23, verse 12. The portion starts with verse 1. I cut out some of the back and forth with Abraham. And that can be found in your Torah commentary on page 155. And this being the third Friday of the month, if there's anybody celebrating a birthday or an anniversary or something special that would like to join with me in the blessings over the Torah reading, I'd be happy to invite you up and bribe you with a bar of chocolate. Anybody? Nobody is celebrating anything in the month of November. Only if y'all want to come up here. I brought the chocolate over from the sanctuary and everything, people. Well, it is Thanksgiving, so we can all join together, page 250, if you still have a figure in your prayer book. Baruch et Adonai habarach, Baruch Adonai habarach le'olam va'ed, Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch et Adonai noten haTorah. So Abraham, after asking to purchase land with which to bury Sarah, who has just breathed her last breath, Abraham was initially told, nah, you don't need to buy the land, we'll just give it to you, but he wants to buy the land, and so now we're sort of escalating the conversation, if you will. With that, Vayishtachu. Vayishtachu Abraham lifnei am haaretz, and Abraham bowed down low before the people of the land. Vadaber el Ephron, and he says to Ephron, who is, like, I'm assuming one of the wealthy people and the land, a landowner, be'oznei am haaretz, in the ears of the people of the land, Lamor, saying, Ach im ata lu shema'eni, if you would please listen to me, Natati kesef hasadeh kach mimeni, I'm going to give you land for the field, take it from me. V'chavra et mete shama, meti, oh yeah, just one, that I might bury my dead there. Don't want to bury more people. Where was it? Vayan Ephron et Abraham, and Ephron answers Abraham, Lamor, saying, Lo Adoni, no my Lord, Shema'eni, you listen to me. That root for Shema, for listen, repeats a few times. Eretz arba me'ot shekel kesef. The land's 400 shekels for essentially a unit of land. Ve'ni uve'ncha mahu. Between you and I, what is it? Ve'et metecha kavar, and your dead you will be able to bury. Vayishma Avraham el Ephron, and Abraham listened to Ephron. Vayishkal Abraham le'Ephron et hakesef asher diber be'oznei v'nei chet. If I get my lines right. And so Abraham, where did I leave off of the translation? Listen to and he basically counts out the money which Ephron had spoken in the ears of the sons of Chet, of the inhabitants of Chet. Arba'a me'ot shekel kesef, these 400 shekels of silver. Over this zachor, it's an odd little phrase for the current money of the merchants of the time. Vayakom sedei Ephron, and thus we think of Yakom to be to rise, but thus was shored up or established. Sede Ephron, the field of Ephron, Asher b'Machpelah, which was in Machpelah, Asher Lifnei Mamre, which was before Mamre, which you might recognize as a place from last week, Hasadeh v'Ha'Me'aver, Me'averah, the field and the cave, Asher Vo, that were in it, B'chol ha'etz, and all of the trees, Asher b'Sadeh, that were in the field, Asher b'chol gavlo saviv le'Avraham le'Michneh, and everything that was within the borders surrounding it to Abraham as for his possession. Le'enei v'nei chet, and all of this was done in the eyes of the children or the residents of Chet. V'chol ba'ei sha'ar yir'o, and all of those who basically dwell within the gates of the city. V'acharei chen, and after that, kavar Abraham buried at Sarah. He buried Sarah, Ishto, his wife, El Ma'arat Sadeh HaMachpelah, in the cave of the field of Machpelah, Al Pnei Mamre, that was facing Mamre, that it was facing Mamre, or he Hebron, that this is Hebron, Be'eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan, Vayakom Hasadeh, and thus this was established in the field. Oh wait, no, it does keep going. That was the middle of the sentence. Vayakom Hasadeh v'ha'ma'ara, in the cave, Asher vo l'Abraham, to Abraham, l'achuzat kever me'et v'nei chet, and thus it was given to him as an inheritance for possession, a burying place for the dead from the children of Chet. And we'll join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. And since you were all being shy, I'll just eat all the chocolate. With the Torah in our midst, we'll take a moment for a prayer of healing. This Shabbat, we pray especially as a congregation for Susan Walsh, Charles Fay, Kim Howell, Flo Schmall, Julie Wagner, Joanne Weinberger, David Woods, Eleanor Must, Ann Burke, Eileen Eady, Ruth Meadow, Catherine Cooper, Rachel Magdalene, Ruth Hirsch, Sid Gross, Sharon Hatcher, Dave Cox, Cicely Nathan, Jim Locke, Linda Dean Harris, Marty Sacker, Gary Pacernick, and Bob Kahn. There are others that ought to be added to our prayer. I invite you to share their names aloud as my hand meets your eyes. We pray together with the words in our prayer book on page 253.
Before
as we lift and address the Torah. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe l'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe.
The sermon, and then we're gonna go in page 256.
I assure you, I was not looking over her shoulder because I thought she was gonna do something wrong. I was just trying to help hold the right side of the Torah since we're still at the very beginning. And it's difficult to read the Torah, follow along, and hold the microphone at the same time. So, choreography is something they don't really teach us. This week's Torah portion, Parshat Chayei Sarah, it begins with a touch of irony, because the name itself, Chayei Sarah, taken from those first two words of Genesis 23, literally means Sarah's life. And yet, the portion itself hardly mentions her, other than to tell us about her death. The last that we had heard from Sarah was back before the binding of Isaac, when she was instructing Abraham about casting out Hagar and Ishmael. But now we come to this section, and it says, the span of Sarah's life came to 127 years. Now there's something peculiar with the way that the years of Sarah's life are being referred to. Rather than using the number 127, like I translated it as, Sarah's life came to 127 years, they don't say that. The Torah actually counts those years out in blocks. 100 years, Mea Shana, and 20 years, Ve'esrim Shana, and 7 years, Ve'sheva Shanim. Putting aside the question, of course, if somebody would really have lived to be 127, we ask, why does the Torah give us Sarah's age with this peculiar wording? There are Torah commentators that like to infer that this was because her life was so filled with meaning that each of those years was significant. Most significant among those commentators includes Rashi, who, if you may remember, is a medieval commentator. He actually is not satisfied with just one answer. Rashi offers us 3 answers. He begins by saying that this was simply the style that the Torah was written in. And so it indicates that we are supposed to read it as separate, complete numbers. Because some numbers we know are better than others. What are some of the numbers that we like in the Bible? 40, right? That's a good one. 7, 10, right? And then numbers that are multiples of 10, like 20 and 100, sort of like these. So we're told that they're given out in block years, 100 years and 20 and 7. Okay, I missed that. All right, 100 is a complete sum, 20 was another round sum, and of 7, we know that it is the magic number of perfection. But Rashi is not satisfied with this idea. So he then moves into a midrash that explains the reason for these discrete numbers is to teach us that Sarah was as innocent at age 100 as she was at age 20, and at age 20 she was as beautiful as she was at age 7. Even if we like that answer, it still doesn't explain the why. So Rashi continues. He suggests if we look at the word shana that follows, so it says 120 and 7 years, and then it says these are the years of Sarah's life. It says then, if we focus on that, for the 4th time that it says the word year, without a number, this repetition is supposed to indicate that all of the years in particular, 120 and 7, were all equally good with each other. Rashi's suggestion provides us with a little bit of comfort because it reminds us that each of these 3 stages of life can be equally good in its own way. There aren't just 3 stages, but these particular ones. We know that life can be very different in each of those stages, but it doesn't mean that those years are not good years. The struggles and difficulties that we face at each phase do not render them as bad. Even at times when we feel that the joy is perhaps diminished, we still know that our lives are filled with meaning. We would, if given a choice, of course, prefer not to have faced difficulties or challenges. But when we think back of the memories of the lessons learned, the family and the friends who helped to bear the weight of those times with us, we are reminded that even then, those years are good. It is, of course, tempting to say that one age or stage of life is better than another. We can easily imagine an argument, perhaps between a grandparent and a grandchild, in which the younger touts the benefits of having high energy, the agility of youth, while the other touts the merits of a life well lived and well loved. But there is good, of course, in each of these times. The struggle that we have is to recognize that good. Even if our health were better and our hearts were not yet broken as perhaps later in life, and we were to return to our childhoods, it would not perhaps appeal to us if it meant that we gave up the things that we've accomplished and loved and learned throughout our lives, like our families, the relationships, and what we've learned over time. I came across something that a colleague of mine, Rabbi Joseph Messler, wrote, in which he suggests a 4th answer to us. He explains, the Torah says that Sarah was, well, we've already gone past that. He suggests perhaps we should really read this line hyper-literally, saying Sarah was simultaneously 100 years old, 20 years old, and 7 years old. So she may have been 100, but somewhere inside of her, she was still a 20-year-old, and also somewhere inside of her was a 7-year-old. He says at age 100, she was an elder with wisdom. She was able to teach others. She had earned her place in the world, lived enough seasons to know that there is nothing new under the sun. But somewhere still inside her, despite her chronological age, there was a 20-year-old ready to party. There was a young adult who was intellectually curious and ready to take a class. That 20-year-old wanted to go to a concert. She was ready to be surprised by the world, to make a new friend or go to a new destination. The mirror may say one age, but inside her was how she felt and saw herself. And he continues to say, alongside these 2 ages, also somewhere deep down, she was still age 7. She was capable of feeling a sense of wonder at a fallen leaf in autumn. She could still get excited by the first snowfall of the winter. And also this child inside still wanted people's approval. Her feelings could get hurt, and sometimes she needed a hug. So Sarah, at the end of her life, was simultaneously an elder, a young adult, and a child. And he asks, and isn't that also true of each of us? Sarah's lifetime, the span of Sarah's life, came to 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. And on this Shabbat Chayei Sarah, the life of Sarah, I leave you to think about Rabbi Messler's suggestion that, of course, she was all 3 ages all at once. Of course, that is what she felt like. It was true for her, and perhaps for us, it might feel true to you as well. I encourage you to continue to think about how the Torah teaches us the truth of the human condition in all of these very interesting ways. Shabbat Shalom. We return the Torah to the Ark. I ask you to join me on page, it's a good page, 256, as we rise.
Etzlaim ki lemahasikim ba'mefutecha me'ushar Etzlaim ki lemahasikim ba'metomecha me'ushar Shalom, 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 shalom. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its support pass to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom.
Continue in the middle of page 282 without reading. You may be seated.
He just can't hear as well. Yes, you come finally.
On page 288. 288. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Life doesn't die, or love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think especially of those who mean so much to us, for whom we are recognizing we are in the period of Aninut, for Stephanie Arnold Borso. We also remember the anniversaries or the yahrzeits of Blanche Belinken, Lily Sternby Booth, William Bremer, Worley Collins, Morris Cooper, Sidney Donenfeld, Margaret Emhoff, Marcia Froelich, Jessica Gordon, Louis Gradsky, Benjamin Greenblatt, Matt Isaacson, Clara Daneman Jacobs, Hal Kamen, Leonard Katz, Francis Claren, Clara Klass, Philip Cohn, Louis Lamfrom, Louis Leeds, Joseph M. Lessner, Fanny Thal Levy, Milton Marks, Ruth Mellett, Lester M. Myers, Abraham B. Ross, Henry S. Rothenberg, Jack Ruda, Linda W. Ruckman, Richard S. Rutman, Rosa F. Sajevitz, Leo Sajevitz, Israel Jacob Saul, Joseph Saul, Adele H. Schumann, Rosetta M. Schwartz, Joseph Seaman, Naomi Slavin Schaefer, Charles C. Wasserman, Bessie Weinstein, Frank Weprin, Rabbi Louis Witt, Leo Younghart. I'd like you, if you would, call forward any other names that you would like to have called to mind or perhaps pronounced more correctly. I invite all who are remembering or who are mourning to please rise first. And we all rise together to recite the words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'adalah u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya, v'yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei dekucha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Usei shalom b'ramav, u'ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, V'imru, amen. Zikronam livracha, may their memories always and only be for a blessing. Amen. You may be seated.
Our closing song is Let There Be Love. The lyrics, if you want to sing along, are Let there be love and understanding among us, and let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkiveinu, Leshalom. Let there be love. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. One more time. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
I wanted to give a special thank you to Charlie Bloomer for helping us this evening with our beautiful music. We love to have the guitar and appreciate you accompanying us. Thank you so much. In just a moment, we will do Kiddush and Motzi. There's a table right there, or a rolling cart, that has our juice, our wine, and our bread on it. But we're going to go ahead and do this from up here, and then you're welcome to go and grab it afterwards. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagalafem. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzah v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahavu ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron ma'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tefillah, l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziyat mitzrayim, ki banu Shabbat Shalom. And we thank Fran Rickenbach for helping by providing our pre-service shmooze and nosh, which is now our post-service shmooze and nosh. So please help yourselves to some wine or grape juice, a piece of challah, and another treat before our evening is over. And hopefully you'll have a chance to say hello to someone else that you may not have met before we walked in this evening. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
I need my jacket.
Yeah, I'm going to. I was going to, oh, you look, well, I had to find something hot, warm, because I'm cold. I don't want, see, I want warm. We're going to Franco's, George. Good. Jack.
Yes, they're
Franco. It's up to you. I'll think about it. I don't know, but it's cold out.
I'm going. Why should I leave my jacket here?
Well, I was ready to go home.
so they